Yeah, StartupTNT is a community-based organization that connects entrepreneurs and angel investors. Really, we're focused on access to capital for early-stage startups, and we do that by running an 8-week-long investment summits where we get angel investors together to do collaborative due diligence, and we syndicate checks from those angels into the startups. So we guarantee at least one company per summit. We call them summits. And at least one will get a syndicated check. So a winning check, or with the winner will get a check from all of the angels. It's just one name on the cap table. And but we've actually done 30 of these. And we've done about 91 investments. So we've done an average of over 2 side deals as well per summit. So we've in 30 summits, we've done 90 deals. We've connected over 375 angel investors with 91 companies. So this is our 4th cleantech investment summit. So we started the cleantech investment summits in 2021 during COVID online. And yeah, we're 4 years later now. So we've been working with these companies for the past 8 weeks. We've got applicants. We had a top 20 pitch night, which was virtual because applications were eligible, open to companies from across the prairies. Companies from across the prairies were eligible. We had a top 20 pitch night. The angels then chose they had a due diligence meeting with each of those companies, chose the 10 they wanted to go deeper on. So they opened up data rooms. Then we went from there. We chose we had more meetings, and then we chose the top 5 companies that we wanted to go even further with, where we started negotiating deal terms. And what you're seeing tonight is the finale event, where the top 5 companies are going to pitch. Again, this is an open to the public event. We're not a pitch competition. We are very much an investment focus group where we're doing due diligence. So the winning deal is not based on the quality of the pitch, but the pitch is sort of a great showcase for what's going on in the community, what these founders are building, and you can really help introduce them to other investors, introduce them to potential customers, people that can help them out. So that's what tonight is. Yeah, I mean, a startup to me is obviously it's a new venture. Generally, it's a company or a group that have come together with a novel idea, something that's disruptive or innovative, that's going to change their domain, their market, where they operate, where they work. It's going to do something in our lives. So it could be an invention, it could be a molecule, it could be like in medicine, for example, or it could just be change the way we do something. But a startup at the fundamental level is a brand new venture. It is a ton of work. But yeah, they're developing something. It's people who are passionate about developing something that's going to change our lives. That's going to disrupt the way we do things.
And we're live.
Welcome to. And we're done. Thank you for the round of applause, and welcome to the 2024 StartupTNT Cleantech Investment Summit. I'm Adrian. I'm one of the StartupTNT angel investors. I've been investing with StartupTNT since the fall of 2021. And with me tonight, my friend, my co-investor, my colleague, Mr. Hassan Naqvi. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Adrian. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hassan Naqvi. I'm the lead investor for StartupTNT in Regina. And like Adrian, I've been investing with StartupTNT since 2021. And this is my 8th summit to date. So really a huge pleasure to be here tonight. I've ran summits before in Regina, and they're about a third the size. So this is something new for me, coming from Regina. See, there's a big crowd out here. Adrian, this is amazing. And as part of this, to be part of the Cleantech Summit, to see 5 amazing cleantech companies pitch tonight on stage to reduce emissions and make the cleaner and more better place.
So in preparation for this day, we have been hustling quite a lot. It's lasted for almost like 2 months now. And we have met a ton of people, ton of investors. We have been meeting the StartupTNT folks who have been extremely kind to give the feedback. And we have been kind of massaging our our pitch, and also kind of really revising and revisiting how we really need to talk to people who really matter. So the investors and the regular users and also our customers. So it needed a lot of prep. It felt like almost going back to my school days and college days, and probably 10 times more intensified from a preparation standpoint. I can tell you probably I have been doing this now 75 times, the pitches, and every time I did that, I felt I could do more. And here it is. I mean, the final day, and I'm so excited to be pitching on behalf of my team. And going through this day and all the DDs that we have gone through, it has also made us more structured, disciplined. And we have, in this process itself, in the last 2 months, we have developed quite a bit. So a lot of preparation has gone in. Hopefully you hear all of this in our presentation today.
So StartupTNT, we have gone through few steps. One, pitch, and 2 times we did due diligence meetings. So I got preparation. I had to prepare for every of those meetings, almost a day. Not full time. I didn't have that much time, so I put a lot of things together, and whatever I knew, I just put it in and tried to be honest as much as I can. And for today, I spent almost maybe 8 hours in total to be prepared for the pitch. So we'll see how that goes.
So preparation, particularly for this day, we've been doing this for about 2 years now. So honestly, preparation started going through the Avatar Innovations program. Through that, we developed this business idea. We ended up being one of the winners in the 2022 cohort. And then from there, we started the business. So we started collecting, non-dilutive funding, building out our demo unit, getting everything set up that we needed to run the business. And then we signed up for StartupTNT, and we were lucky enough to make it past the top 20 and then all the way up to top 5, which is where we are today.
So I want to start with a question for Hassan. Why invest in startups?
That's a really good question, Adrian. It's a question that actually I've been talking to a bunch of investors about tonight. And for myself, it's a bit of a personal question. Aside from the opportunity for outside returns in investments, the main reason why I invest in startups is to support the local community and the local founders. There's nothing more than supporting individuals who are putting it out there on the line to promote their ideas, their business dreams, and to provide the backing that they need. And it's not just with a monetary backing. It's also supporting them with encouragement, with advice, with connections, referrals, all those things that are required in order to make a business successful. So that's why I invest in startups, Adrian. How about you?
No, I mean, that's a really good reason, and mine's not too different. No, many of you don't know, like obviously I lived here for a few years in the 80s, and then moved away and moved back in 2000 for the oil and gas industry. And in that time, and I think even as far back as the 80s, and someone's going to tell me actually the 60s, we have been saying we need to diversify our economy. We've been saying diversify, diversify. And it's kind of like Inglewood. It's like always coming, it's gentrifying. Well, here it is. We're doing it. And I want to be a part of that diversification. And I have 3 kids, and I want my kids to potentially work at one of these incredible startups that's going to be a unicorn or a gigacorn. Heard a new term today from ZS2, a gigacorn in this city, based right here. And so I want to be a part of that. I want to help diversify the economy. And that's why I invest in startups.
Each investor has already pre-committed $5,000. They can actually add more if they want to. But it's not just a pitch competition. The investors have also collaborated and performed due diligence on these companies already. So although the companies are going to be pitching here tonight, it's not just a pitch competition. We're basing the decision on all the due diligence that's happened over the last 8 weeks almost. And the winning investment will be announced live right here on the stage tonight. It's not just about the investors providing money to the founders. It's also them providing advice, support, and connections. And even if the company doesn't win tonight, it doesn't mean that they're not a winning company. All these companies in the top 5 are companies that are investable and could succeed. We've got 5 startups here tonight that are going to be pitching, and both live and online, we got over 500 attendees, all leading to one epic night.
So investors, we're going to ask you now, we've got food and refreshments up in the deliberation room. So please start making your way to the deliberation room. We're going to be back here in 45 minutes or less to announce the winners of the summit. Without further ado, the winner of the 2024 StartupTNT Clean Tech Investment Summit is
ConnectX.
Okay.
So ConnectX is building a cloud-based enterprise SaaS, software as a service solutions for the utilities and the heavy load customers like the data centers and the building operators, so that they can create their own smart grid and contribute to stabilizing the grid, which is failing at a massive rate, and therefore save a lot more in their energy usage and also generate more income for themselves, additional revenue for themselves. ConnectX started from an idea of having to solve the grid congestion, which was really becoming a problem with all the new renewable energy that comes into the grid and all the excessive power demand that's coming up. So the grid of the previous world, if you'd like, they were built for a very static supply and demand. I mean, your energy demand usage is very predictable. You have natural gas, coal supplying that. So this were in sync. But as more and more renewable came into the grid, as your energy demand became more erratic or unpredictable, we are working more from home, we are charging our EVs at night, the grid is just not suitable. So that needs a smart grid to be implemented. And there was no technology solution to implement smart grid at scale. So ConnectX came from that idea. But just to take a step back, so I have been in the industry for over 2 decades. Now it's my 25th year, and my co-founders also come with so much of experience in the industry. We all wanted to address this problem. And this was the time. If we don't address it today, I mean, things will fail drastically, and we've been seeing some signs of that. In Alberta, we haven't seen grid alerts, stress alerts. And in the last few months, there have been over 6 alerts. So things are starting to kind of show up, and all the more happening in the US and Australia. So we thought this was the time this solution is needed. So that's why we started ConnectX. Right, so smart grid balances power supply and demand in real time. What it does is it avoids billions of dollars in investment in having to build new power plants or fixing the old power grid. And the side effect of smart grid is it also brings down the fossil fuel usage and therefore decarbonizes the grid in a very cheap and efficient and cost-effective manner. Once ConnectX is implemented at scale, it has the ability to bring down the cost of electricity drastically and maintain it at that level, which has been causing a lot of stress and problems for, let's say, the small and medium income families, and they make up the majority of it. But not only that, the industries are at a bottleneck of, they can't expand their operations anymore because the cost of energy, cost of electricity is just too much for them to manage. So we are addressing that. So social economic impact of ConnectX being implemented at scale. ConnectX is not my first startup. This is my 4th climate tech and my 5th startup. And I've been through the entrepreneurial journey and learned a lot from how to build startups. Uh, so when I started thinking of ConnectX, the team became extremely important for me. That's the first thing. So I brought together the people who would be really critical to make this happen. One other thing I realized in my previous entrepreneurial kind of experiences and journey to manage cash flows. So we as startups, we operate on very limited resources, both human resources and capital resources. And there has to be some sort of discipline on how you manage your capital, where you invest, and which creates the biggest bang for bucks. So that's what I learned from implemented from the start, and that comes from my learning from the previous startups that I've built. Yeah, having dealt with investors in the past, uh, we were aware of what they are looking for. And then I'd be very specific about investors. So just not targeting any investors. So we are building a VC venture scale startup. And the venture investor, the VCs want different things. So they want something that can be scalable, that's fundamentally changing the way we see our world today. So we knew all the all the expectations. So of course we couldn't make up if the startup was not made for it. So we just knew to speak the language of them. But what happened was we also knew what they're looking for in terms of their diligence or assessment of a startup. And ConnectX was built right from the beginning, keeping that in mind. I can't underestimate the importance of the communication with the investors. So over the 9 weeks that we've been through the startup TNT and even before, uh, it was very clear that the investor knew what we are building. Not only our initial pitch, we were trying to involve them almost in our day to day. We are communicating with them, we are meeting with them, we are telling them how we're trying to attract new customers or what solution we are building, and we're also actively seeking out help. So that way we felt the investors were much more informed going into the finale about ConnectX than having to interact with a fresh new idea or fresh new team. So team was already interacting with them. They knew how the product was. They kind of went through the evolution of the team. And during this period, we had a major breakthrough in our technology development, which were planned for like 6 months later. We involved the investors. We involved StartupTNT diligence team and actively informed them what we did, why we did, and how this is going to change. So I think that interaction, the communication really helped, giving them the confidence and letting them know who we are. So the startup founders or founder is really the most important spokesperson of a startup. And that spokesperson speaks to the potential customer, the investor, and every time it's less about selling the idea, it's about convincing them of that idea. So, I mean, investors, those who have been in the startup space, who have either supported startups or have been operated themselves, have been founders, they know the grind and they have been on my seat before. So they're quite comfortable with the idea of me explaining it. So at these very early stages, I mean, all the way I would say probably Series A, Series B, it's really the founder's job to sell the prepare the ecosystem with the idea of the startup. Both the consumers, the customers, the the even the partners, even the new team members or the investors. They're all pretty much the same. Just that they probably need a little bit of different massaging at a different point of view. I mean, the the content that we talk to them are slightly different or tailored to suit their needs, but they all want to hear me or the co-founders. That's the most important thing. If I had to bring in someone who's like a comms manager, or someone wouldn't have done a similar job, good job. So there's also one more thing, and I have been an investor myself, an angel investor. What typically investors look for is the is the passion uh, of the founding team. is it in them to stick around, come whatever it is, right? Hell or high waters. Can they stick around? Are they focused on a single-minded idea of building this startup? And challenges will come. And most of the time it's resource challenge. It's the challenge of being small, being competed out by the larger ones, but can they stick around still? Can they essentially pivot to suit the market needs? So that's why it's for a very long time, it's the founder's job to communicate this across the board, across the ecosystem. So Startup TNT win has been extremely meaningful. First of all, this establishes Connectex as an Albertan and Western Canadian startup, which brings in a lot of interest from like-minded investors, gives us exposure to the industries which we're targeting to connect. So the PR that followed brought in a lot of interest, inbound interest for us. So that it was meaningful for that reason. Startup TNC's investment also has been very important for us because we think they are a group of investors who understand the space very well. And when they understand the space very well, and given their background, a lot of them have been investors, operators previously, and founders, they're able to advise or mentor us going forward. And they have been doing it, to be honest. I mean, even during the DD phase, we have received a lot of mentorship from them, which I've been very thankful for. And when we build startups, one of the most important or valuable thing for us is the right kind of mentorship. When it comes to go-to-market, when it comes to pricing, how we structure that, position the product for the market, this mentorship comes from the really like-minded people. And Startup TNT has been already doing it, and I'm hopeful this will happen more. We're also trying to kind of bank on this platform, Startup TNT as a platform, to connect with the investors of the next stage. So that's something we are looking forward to. But most importantly, and it's very personal for me, I wanted to establish Connectex as a local brand. And I think with this gives an opportunity to establish us as a local brand. Right, it was very funny. I mean, how I got introduced to Startup TNT. I was not really thinking so much about it. I had a few VCs on mind I wanted to approach right at the time when I was thinking of fundraise for this round, pre-seed round. So just to take a step back, we are already funded by Antler Canada. So we were riding that along, and then it was just by chance I got to know Jed Alberts, and Jed introduced me to the Startup TNT. Then one thing led to another, and I really thought this is a very interesting group of people and this platform, and we started becoming serious about that. So it was back in December, we simply applied for it. We had a very well-drafted pitch, so we applied with it. So they have been very clear that, okay, I mean, this is the team that we'll be looking at more than the pitch, but we also had a very good pitch. So going into it, things started becoming more serious as we went along. So top 20 was a great moment for us. So we felt that, okay, now this is becoming a bit more professional, serious, and we needed to get a bit more attention to it. And then we started full-fledged. The team got involved. It was only me at the beginning. The team got involved. But going through it, we experienced something super differentiated about Startup TNT. So in all my 4 previous startups, I have interacted with probably about 300 VCs or investors. The depth and the quality and the amount of time and research they have put in during the assessment and DD phase is phenomenal. I have not seen anything like that. I was not expecting it also. So that helped us become more organized as a startup right from the beginning. So these 2 months that we have been with them and been through the process made us a lot more mature organized for future growth. So we give that to Startup TNT. So it was unlike any other I have seen before. Most of the other VC DDs would be a couple of calls and all of that stuff. This was very, very deep. What was also important is they brought together a very well-informed team of assessors and advisors who looked at every single document that we sent them. So there's nothing more heartbreaking for a startup when you don't get to hear from them. You send something to the investors, you don't hear from them, you don't see them giving that seriousness. Okay, I know that it's a spray and pray for most of them, but Startup TNT showed a very different mentality. They're very serious right from the beginning, and I think they did that for all of the other startups. So, which I was extremely pleased of. So that's the Startup TNT experience for us so far. So building a startup is many things. Many things happen in the same day of your startup life or over the period of building that startup. So one thing I cannot underestimate as a startup founder is the importance of team, the founding team. These are the first people who you sell the idea to. And when they get excited and they decide to come on board, leaving behind their so-called very comfortable jobs or comfortable life, that's when you know that the idea will work or idea sticks. There is a merit to that idea. So that team has been extremely important. When you have that like-minded team, motivated team, they 100x your productivity. And that's what probably my biggest lesson building a startup. Then becoming disciplined in the phase of startup life. When you have a great idea, a lot of people want to come on board, and you sometime in the SERP era, right, used to get a lot of money sprayed at you, and we have been through that as well. And we didn't know how to even use that money. And in the end, what you do it, you unnecessarily spend on probably doing some vanity stuff like going for new events or other things, and you don't have a product yet, or even start hiring people unnecessarily. So I learned hard way of what not to do on those days. And the last being simple. I mean, I come from a very technology background. I've been in the industry so long that it's very easy for me to speak at length about the technical problems or the challenges in a very geeky way, But we are trying to sell the idea to are people who don't necessarily have that background. So you have to really tone it down and really focus on the simplistic outcome of your startup. And that's also very important, because if you can't simplify the idea, you are unable to kind of articulate the impact. And what that led to us doing was, that happened to all my startups, was we came up with very simple ideas, the mission, vision, values that were in line with what the outside world needs. So no big complicated ideas in our mission statement or value statement. It's a very simple statement. And if you have that, the complications can be always dealt with at a different level. But the high level idea should be very simple. That's what I learned hard way. So disciplining myself to speak that language of the world that I'm trying to sell to was very important. That's what I learned. These are the three things I would say was very important. Community is extremely important, because to me, the community means the people who attach themselves to you, to the idea that you're pursuing, to the startup that you're building. And when they attach themselves, somewhat get associated with the ideas or you, they voluntarily help you a lot. And startups always need additional help. It's not just the capital. The capital do come if you're able to make an impactful pitch or if you have all other disciplines, what don't come is the additional help. And that's very important to kind of spread your wings and trying to access the resources that is available for you, which you do not probably know. And despite building 4 startups and having known kind of the ecosystem approach, I still didn't have many of the options had I not known the communities. So the community came on board. I met them. I kind of explained my what we are trying to build, and I also was very honest about what my limitations are, and I was actively seeking help. But the community was very kind to help me out. They introduced me to either other investors or businesses or ecosystem partners. For example, I was looking for a legal partner. They gave the connections, and most importantly, I also hired 2 people through the community references. So communities act extremely important. One thing I have seen people thinking about entrepreneurship is an approach which I think it's somewhat half-hearted. Entrepreneurship is extremely demanding. It needs you to leave everything behind and pursue this one single goal single-mindedly. If you think that, okay, I mean, we all face financial challenges. We need to pay our bills and everything is fine. But if you think, and I have been on that boat, okay, I have another job. Let me try an idea and see where it goes. And then at some point in time, I'll leave that job and then move on to this. It's not going to happen. So if you're thinking of entrepreneurship and thinking about it seriously, if it drives your life, like every single day you get up and you think, okay, I should do something, then leave that for once, that cushy job. Of course, build enough runway so that you can sustain for some time. Because when you do that, it's your survival. And when you're in that survival mode, you're probably giving your, I don't know how many percentage more. It's every single hour you are giving 3 hours. So that's 300% of your time, which you wouldn't do if you had another fallback option. So leave all the fallback options behind, as if think that this is for you a matter of survival, right? And follow that single goal single-mindedly, and things will come to you. That's the only single suggestion. Everything else is very tactical. How you raise money, how you build team, all of this is very, very tactical. Because once you do that and it's your dream, you'd give that extra 200, 300% which others won't do. And that builds your company. That builds your startup. That's all I have to say for the future entrepreneurs. The 18-year-old of me did not know what the world was like and did not have a purpose. And it's not very common to expect an 18-year-old to have that purpose of life. And that's fine. I tell my 18-year-old, go and explore the world. Don't limit yourself to the place where you grew up. Don't limit yourself to the comfort zone. Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation that will build you for the next 60, 70 years. It doesn't need to be entrepreneurship. It just be yourself. The way we see is life is all about, the way I would like to define at some point in time, success is whether I reach the maximum potential I had in this life. Doesn't matter whether I build billion-dollar businesses or multi-billion-dollar businesses or what my net worth is at the end of the line. But is that enough? Could I have built more? And that doesn't come without an early exposure. The 18-year-old has to get out, has to put himself or herself into the wild and find all the opportunities. Things will come to him or her. That's what I would say. Yeah, so lots to do for ConnectX in the next few years. I'll be a bit more tactical, a bit tactical, and a bit more strategic as well. When I think of the next 16 to 18 months, it's all about proving the value proposition. with the pilot customers. That's where we're extremely focused on. Bringing the product to the market, that bringing to the market a product that everyone wants. That's important. And when I meant everyone as the target customers. Once that phase is over, the long-term goal is to build a category-defining company. Meaning, Connectex wants to play a very meaningful and crucial role in the whole energy transition. This is the decade that matters the most, not only for us, for the world. And within this decade, we want to establish ourselves as a brand that played its role in that meaningful transition. Whether that means Connectex becoming a global player or meaningfully an important player in North America, we do not know that. Whether that means building Connectex into a multi-billion-dollar business doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter. As long as we are able to contribute to the transition of the world to the new future, we would consider that success. And this is the decade that matters most for us.